Hello there. My name is Jasom Jensai, and welcome to this stream where we're going to be discussing Bad Batch episode 12. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed this one. But before I get into all my thoughts in depth on this, first we got the question of the stream, and that's not what it's supposed to look like. Let's fix that real quick. There we go. Okay, question of the stream. So this time I've got question all prepared, unlike last time. And by the way, if you guys haven't looked in the comments, user by the name might be getting this backward. I think it's Meliodas Black. It might be Black Meliodas. I forget which one it is. But anyways, that guy has already answered 2 questions, and I'm pretty sure he's pretty new to the channel. So, I mean, you guys have got some catching up to do, unless you're Meliodas Black, of course. Then you're just winning. So, great job to Meliodas Black. The rest of you guys got to catch up. Now's your opportunity. The first person to get the question right gets the points. No one else gets the points. You only get one guess, so you can't just guess over and over and stuff like that. And you can't look it up. Those are the 3 rules. With that out of the way, the question is, what is the name of Hera's ship and her subship? So this one is kind of hard to word. She has a ship, but she also has a ship. That's a lot of SHs. She also has a ship like that attaches to her back, the back of her ship, that can like go out. So it's kind of 2 attached ships, and they have similar names, but you got to remember both of them. So I mean, if you guess one and then you guess the other one like a second later, I can count that as one guess because it's one guess for each one. But yeah, that's question of the stream. With that out of the way, let's get into the review. All right, so Bad Batch episode 12. My overall thoughts are it has pretty good tension. I really like that about this episode. The character development, like the relationships, that was pretty well done as well. And lastly, the plot ramifications in this one wasn't good. This one didn't feel filler at all. Even though you might be able to argue this one... No, never mind, you can't really. This one might be filler for the Bad Batch specifically, depending, of course, on what happens next. But I would argue that if you look at not just the TV show, it's definitely not filler. But with that out of the way, let's get into more specifics. So I'm going to start by discussing like the Omega plotline, and then I'll discuss the Hauser plotline. So those are kind of the 2 main plot lines in this. So let's start with Omega. So it starts out with Hera. I think Hera just calls Omega and the Bad Batch, basically, is how it starts out. And they are convinced to go help Omega, or Hera. I keep getting names mixed up. But anyways, this, I felt a little bit... This is like my biggest gripe with this episode, is that the Bad Batch, that being like all the adults in the Bad Batch that aren't Crosshair, didn't really seem like they had enough motive. It wasn't believable that they would like risk their lives for Hera because Omega's like, yeah, you're a soldier, so you have to. It's kind of like, well, do you really have to though? And like, I know it's technically the right thing to do because I've seen Rebels. But the thing is, they haven't seen Rebels. They don't know that Hera's a main character. So they don't know she has plot armor. So they're thinking, well, this is going to be a dangerous mission. Like, that we get nothing out of it. The rebellion, they don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about Hera's eventual skills. Like, they don't know anything about it. So it just felt a little bit unbelievable to me. But for the sake of this episode, I think it's... I mean, nothing's perfect. I'm sure a lot of people thought it was, like, believable. And even, like... thought it was weird that they hesitated. So yeah, I mean, it's all a matter of perspective with art. But yeah, I just didn't like that as much. But on the other hand, I'm not sure what I would have done. They kind of had to do that to kind of force that into the plot, because I'm sure they have a bigger plan that's bigger than just this one decision. But I've gone on and on enough about that. So yeah, let's... Not a lot happens after that. They kind of... I mean, they realized stuff, but it was stuff we already knew. They realized that Hunter was on, what's it called? Ryloth. That's the word. So yeah, they realized Hunter was on Ryloth. They get a probe droid, and they're like, yeah, basically, this mission, it's too dangerous. And it's like, well, yeah, obviously. And then they end up getting convinced to come back. However, I did kind of like... I don't like that they got convinced so easily. That being Hunter, mostly. The rest kind of are just kind of like following his lead. But I did like how Omega reacted, because that is kind of believable. She's always been kind of a bit naive and compassionate. Hang on, let me fix my mic Okay. Yeah, she's always been a bit naive and compassionate, so it makes sense with her character. She goes up, and then also she was just like, she just found out she's a really good strategist, so she's probably thinking about that and like, well, maybe I can just come up with a good enough strategy. Like, her strategic skills have been affirmed by people. She's thinking, oh, they're really good, so I'm going to use them. Awesome. Great. That's a very good tie-in with the previous episode. So she and Hera come up with a plan, probably mostly Omega, to be honest, because that's kind of her specialty. At least I hope it is. I hope that wasn't just like a one-episode gimmick or whatever. But they come up with a plan, and it's a pretty good one. They take out the cannons. And I did like one other thing they pointed out is that Hera knows Ryloth better than the Empire does, and they use that to their advantage in the episode. They take out the cannons. I don't know how, but Hera knows that they're going to send reinforcements over. So they send reinforcements, and then Hunter and Echo can just sneak in super easily and get out of there. So that's their plan. Obviously, it's going to go wrong at the very first step, that being Chopper stopping the cannons from working. I don't know why he said it wasn't going to work, because I can't speak droid, like Hera apparently can, and all the main characters can for some reason. Hang on, why do all the main characters know how to speak droid? That's weird. It's almost like they need a companion, and so they give them the ability to speak, because it'd be awkward if they're translating everything. Anyways, I got sidetracked by that thought. I might come back to that later, like by myself, and flesh that out a bit more. But anyways, back to this. So Hera and Chopper, they're like, the plan isn't working. So Omega's like, well, I guess we got to do something new. Hey, see that starship? Let's go take that. And this is another point where it's a little bit unbelievable, where Hera and I forget her name, Omega. Why do I always forget names on streams? It's so awkward. It's probably me bringing attention to it is more awkward. Anyways, focus. So Hera and Omega, they go and they take over the ship, and that's a little bit unbelievable. It's just, how did they sneak in and not be seen and run up the ship ramp? It just seems like security is just non-existent anymore. That's like another big thing that's just, I don't know. And there are ways you could have got around this. You could have had Chopper make a distraction. You could have had Tech and Wrecker make a distraction, which honestly I think would be better. But yeah, it's cool that they're giving Hera a piloting job. One other minor thing, and this is super minor. It's literally a nitpick. Is Hera goes, she flies the ship, she does terribly, like crashes into things for like 5 seconds, and then she's fine. I mean, sure, there's that one comment about Tech where it's like, yeah, I'm sure you're as unpredictable as to them as you are to us. And first of all, great comment. But second of all, I don't, like, sure, I guess that means she was doing bad, but she didn't really look like she was doing that bad. Also, I feel like it might have been better if they had just said, okay, Hera, now you and Omega fly away. I don't know. I mean, it sticks to the plan. It's kind of within the Bad Batch's character to protect Omega. I don't know. That's a very subjective decision. Even I'm not super into that one. I don't know. I could go either way on that. But that's about the end of Omega's arc. It kind of stops there. There is a bit about Hunter, like, I don't know, just deciding to trust her and help Hera. But yeah, it's most of the development in this episode was for Omega, Hera, and then Hauser and Jam and the clones too, because there's something big, which I'm sure you know. You've probably seen videos on it and stuff like that. Probably not the only one you're subscribed to if you're subscribed to a Star Wars channel. I mean, just look at the subscriber count. But so now let's talk about Hauser's arc. So Hauser starts out, and actually this ties into the previous episode a lot. We actually meet Hauser in the previous episode, or at least I did. He might be on like a comic or something, or I might just be forgetting him from somewhere. Anyways, really cool character. For some reason, seems to not be super affected by Order 66. I don't know if there's an explanation for this. I'm assuming it's just like one of those rare instances that Rex briefly mentioned in whatever episode he met the Bad Batch in. Not the Clone Wars, the episode he re-meets with Bad Batch, where he's like, yeah, it affects like 99% of the clones. And I was like, huh, well, I guess there's some that it didn't affect. And Hauser might be one of them. I don't know. That's just kind of what it seems like to me. That or it's wearing off. That's another thing. I'm not. I don't know. It's probably a mix of both, something like that. But, anyways, Hauser starts the episode where he is like trying to find Hera to protect her, but he's not going against the Empire, even though he knows, like, he knows subconsciously. He hasn't like consciously thought about it. He's like repressing that a bit, because I mean he does want to follow orders. That's another big part of his personality, as it is for all clones. It's hardwired into them. Maybe hardwired. I don't know. It's part of their personality. So he wants to follow orders, but at the same time he knows in his subconscious that they are not serving the Ryloth people. They're an occupation force. And I'd be interested to see why that is, because this is probably touched on somewhere else in canon and I'm just forgetting. But Ryloth just doesn't seem like that profitable of a planet. It's kind of dusty and dry. There's not that much there. I mean, they are mining for Dunium. Dunium is pretty important to the Death Star, and fleets of Star Destroyers as well, like pretty much everything ship related. But I feel like you could probably find Dunium in a less, how shall I say this, terrorist-filled planet. Maybe terrorist is a bit of an extreme term, but terrorist, rebel, same thing, different motives. So yeah, that's, I guess, the setup for Hauser's arc. So he starts just trying to find Hera to help him, but not realizing it. And over the course of the episode, he meets with Tram one more time. We hear the Clones theme. I'm sure that was very convincing for him. Very nostalgic, very fitting for him. And then at the very end, he sees what Hunter is doing and goes and stops Cham and the rest of Bad Batch and helps them escape. And that's a very interesting thing for Hunter and also Echo too, because they're seeing a clone who is resisting Order 66. So it seems like, I mean, it's pretty clear that he's no longer controlled by Order 66. And I'm guessing they're pretty curious about that. Maybe this will inspire them to finally start trying to rescue Hunter. Or not Hunter. Crosshair. They have kind of similar names. Well, not really similar names, but you could imagine Hunter being a sniper, right? Anyways. Yeah, so I don't know. I've kind of been hoping that that's going to be their end goal for like 4 episodes now. And that's probably my biggest gripe with this show as a whole, other than maybe like a few filler up, like if I'm evaluating the show as a whole, like its basic plot line, that's going to be the thing I point to. Is like that could have been their motive from the start, and they just don't know how to do it. Maybe they work for Sid because they need money, or they're just running away from now. They don't know how. They meet Rex and they start formulating a plan, but they don't have it solidified. So yeah, I don't know. That's probably how I would have done it in hindsight. Yeah, so of course a lot could be going wrong in execution or whatever. Maybe that was the plan, but they just scrapped it because it wasn't working. I don't know. But anyways, back to Hauser. He gives this speech. Honestly, the speech didn't really work that well for me. Like, don't get me wrong, it worked really well, but it didn't work as well as it should have. And I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't hit me right. And I can't explain it because art is subjective. It's kind of like with, I forget which episode it was, but it was that episode where Rex meets with the Bad Batch again. I just didn't like it that much, even though everything in it seemed like this is an episode you should absolutely love, but I didn't. It didn't hit me right. I don't know. And this is kind of the same thing. I could recognize that it was good. Actually, like, it was good. I would say it's not quite the same as that episode, because I did like it, but I just didn't like it as much as I should have, because that should have been an awesome moment. And then there's also the plot ramifications of that, or not the plot, the setting and plot, kind of. They're kind of intertwined. But it's like clones are overcoming Order 66. And at first I was like, oh, it's just because it's been a while. However, I did watch Thor Skywalker's and Star Wars Theories reviews of this episode. And in the comments of Star Wars Theories, I saw an awesome comment by Anakin Skywalker that I just screenshotted and pulled up because I thought this was awesome. Basically, he says, actually I'm going to quote it directly, without the presence of a Jedi, Hauser was able to reason with his men and get them to see through the influence of the chip. So if Ahsoka hadn't been on that ship, would Rex have been able to get through to Jesse or the rest of the 501st? And I think that's just an awesome question. Like maybe Jedi or clones are triggered by seeing a Jedi. I mean, obviously Tup was, like, you see it in the episode. He's like, okay, I'm fine. And he like hits his head, he's shooting, suddenly he sees the Jedi, and then he shoots the Jedi. Like, he's triggered by seeing Jedi. So it could be the same thing. And there are, as you can see in the screenshot, there are 56 replies as of now. It's what, like a day after the episode was released? It says right there, 1 day after the comment. 56 replies already. Naturally, they'll slow down, of course. But, like, you get the point. There's a lot of debate with this. A lot of it is, well, this was, like, right after Order 66. And, yes, I think there's some of that. I think it's both. I think they're really triggered by Jedi. If there was a Jedi right next to Hauser, I don't think those clones would have thrown down their weapons. And then also Crosshair probably would have shot the Jedi. But that aside, I think they would be triggered by Jedi. But I also think it's true that they're, like, Order 66 is slowly fading in a way. So yeah, has a lot of plot ramifications. We could potentially see Clone Uprising even more now. Because, I don't know, I haven't mentioned this a lot, but it's one of the things I really want to see with, like, especially if they do a Bad Batch Season 2 or a Bad Batch Season 3 or whatever. A Clone Uprising, I would absolutely love that. That would be awesome. Because, I mean, they have it set up. You've got the Kaminoans plotting separately from the Empire. They're getting less and less satisfied with it. The Empire is just leaving the wait, how do you say this again? I said it literally like 5 seconds ago. How did I forget how to say Kaminoans? Is that right? That sounds wrong. What is happening to me? Okay, you know who I'm talking about. The Empire is basically sending them away. The Kamino people don't know, like, how to react to that. Maybe they'll start a war. I don't know. And with clones, like, throwing down Order 66, it's definitely possible. So yeah, I thought that comment was great. Just wanted to include it in this video. Because, yeah, it was really good. Got me thinking. I love it. But, yeah, that's a lot of what happened in this episode. Cham escapes. Bad Batch escape. Oh, one more thing. I liked how Admiral Rampart, I think he's an admiral, I don't remember. Anyways, that guy, you know what I'm talking about. That guy, dang it, I blanked on. Oh, right, he underestimated the Bad Batch, which I thought was really cool. I think it's very believable that first an Imperial would underestimate someone. Second, that they would underestimate the Bad Batch because there's only 4 of them. So yeah, I thought that was awesome. Obviously, 100 didn't underestimate them, which also I liked. He seems to respect their power, if not their, I guess, on loyalty is probably how he would see it. Disloyalty, that's the word. Anyways, yeah, so he gets the opportunity to hunt them down, permission granted. I mean, it kind of seemed like that was his job before, but I guess this time it's more serious or something. Not really sure about that. Yeah, things are gearing up for the finale. I'm guessing there will be, okay, I could see it going 2 ways. 3 ways, actually. The first is, this is probably the least likely, but probably my second favorite, is a 4-episode arc, and that's the finale. There's a lot of 4-episode arcs in the Clone Wars. There's just some evidence for this. Also, I believe there's 4 episodes left, so that would kind of make sense. The other option, or the other main option that people say is like 2 filler episodes and then a 2-part arc or a 2-part finale. And 2-part finales were very popular in Rebels. Like, I haven't gone and counted, but I know for sure that, maybe not for sure, I know with 85% certainty that Season 2 ends in a 2-part. And I know 90% certainty that Season 4 ends in a 2-part. Let's say 70% that Season 1, you get the point. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of 2-part finales in Rebels, and this has a lot of the structure of Rebels, at least from what I've seen. Then in the Clone Wars, there's also a bunch of 2-part arcs. However, there's also a lot of 3-part arcs, which I don't see a lot of people talking about. I feel like that could be a thing too, with just 1 filler episode, because I feel like you have 2 in a row and suddenly it gets boring. Like that's what happened right at episode 2 and 3, I think it was. Where they stop at that moon. You have Hunter's plotline, which was good in that episode. But the rest of that was terrible. But then you have the next episode, which does set up Fennec Shand, but at the time we didn't know that was setting up like a recurring theme of Fennec Shand, which, to be fair, it's a 2-episode recurring theme, but it does have some plot ramifications beyond that. We've seen that now. But yeah, so I could see them doing a 1-episode filler episode. 2-episode, I can definitely see them doing, but I don't want them to because I feel like it'll be boring. I really hope it's the 3-episode one. I don't know, but I feel like that one's the least likely. I'm not sure. Either way, that's my thoughts on Bad Batch episode 12. If you liked it, make sure to like this video, right? That's how this works, right? Never mind. If you liked my review, make sure to like the video. If you didn't like it, of course, you can dislike it as well. Leave a comment about why you liked it or didn't like it or whatever, or why you felt it was neutral or whatever. Whatever you do, just, I don't know. I feel like I should have had something to say after that, but I didn't. Goodbye, old friend.